Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's ceremony, honoring Senior Master Sergeant Alex Vieira and his wife, Ozzy, on the occasion of his retirement after 28 years of dedicated service to his country. I am Master Sergeant Denver Murphy, and I'll be your MC. The presiding officer for today's ceremony is Colonel Michael Willen, United States Air Force, retired. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and the singing of our national anthem. See by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We would like to recognize our honored guests attending today's ceremony. Please hold your applause until all are introduced. Our distinguished guests include Senior Master Sergeant Vieira's wife, Mrs. Azadui Vieira, Senior Master Sergeant Vieira's daughters, Vivi and Rosie Vieira, Sergeant Vieira's mother, Mrs. Ann Vieira, Sergeant Vieira's brother, David Vieira, and his wife, Evelyn, and children Isabel, Olivia, Mateo, and Nico, Sergeant Vieira's sister, Claire Blitch, and her daughter, Elizabeth Blitch, and special guest, Eli. Sergeant Vieira's brother, Aaron Vieira, and wife Joyce, and son Luke. Other distinguished military guests include the commander of the United States Air Force Academy Band, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Herber, the United States Air Force Academy's Flight Commander, Captain Brandon Holtz, the Senior Enlisted Leader of the United States Air Force Academy Band, Chief Master Sergeant Rick Baisden, Chief Master Sergeant Sarah Ballion, Senior Enlisted Leader for the Dean of Faculty, Chief Master Sergeant Dan Kennemore, retired, Chief Master Sergeant Scott Barbier, retired, Chief Master Sergeant Mark Burdett, retired, and Chief Master Sergeant Fred Carell, retired. We would also like to welcome all other distinguished visitors, family, and friends who have come to celebrate Sergeant Vieira's retirement. It is now my pleasure to welcome today's presiding officer, Colonel Michael Willen.
Thank you, Sergeant Murphy. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. It is my distinct privilege and honor to be asked to preside at this momentous occasion, the retirement of a fellow bassoonist, Senior Master Sergeant Alejandro Vieira, on the occasion of his completion of 28 years and 14 days of service to this great nation, which is about to celebrate its semi-quincentennial. Say that 5 times fast. And while I have served as the presiding officer at retirement ceremonies before, this is actually the first time I have officiated a bassoonist retirement. So thank you for this opportunity. I extend my warmest welcome to all who have traveled near and far to be with us today, and especially members of Alex's family, whom I'd like to recognize and introduce at this time. First, I'd like to remember his father, Alejandro Vieira, who passed away in October 2023. Alex's father was a civil engineer from a lineage of engineers and always wanted to study music, but was never given the chance. He taught himself clarinet as an adult, and he became an early example for Alex. In fact, he started his son, Alex, on the E-flat clarinet. Talk about accepting risk. He was an idealist to the extreme, immigrating to the United States from Colombia, South America, to pursue his master's degree in 1969. He was also pretty handy with tools, and young Alex watched him complete many home improvement projects. We remember him today, as I know he would have been very proud to see his son celebrate this milestone. We welcome his mother, Ann Vieira. Alex says his mother is the pragmatist of the family, raising 3 boys and a girl, Alex being the oldest. She became a teacher and librarian in the family's parochial school when Alex's younger brother started kindergarten. She actually lived in Colombia for about 5 years as a child while Alex's grandfather worked for the State Department. And her fluency in Spanish served her well when she met Alejandro, married, and had a family. Anne became Alex's father's primary caregiver after he survived 2 strokes until his passing in 2023. Since 2023, she has fulfilled many delayed desires to travel abroad, including using her degree in secondary French teaching to live in France on her own for nearly a month between European travels with various relatives. She is definitely seizing the opportunity to see the world and visit her 9 grandchildren as much as possible. Thank you for being with us today. Your presence means more than you will ever know. Now we move on to the immediate family, Ozzy. She's already starting to cry. This is early in the ceremony, Ozzy. We've got a long way to go, so make sure you don't use all those tears in the jar. Ozzy grew up in Bulgaria until the age of 16 when she moved to the United States to continue studying music. Although this was very much against her wishes, she was told by her family that she was just visiting relatives in New York. But they did not purchase a round-trip ticket for her. There were practically no paying musician jobs in Bulgaria, so her family wanted her to have a better chance here in the United States. Alex and Ozzy met during bankruptcy of the Colorado Springs Symphony Orchestra, which folded just 2 months after she won the job and moved to Colorado. They were bored by the speeches at the musicians' meetings, so Alex invited her to grab a beer at his house. She thought Alex was making fun of her by offering her local brews with crazy names, but he was able to prove his sincerity with her first bottles of Fat Tire and Laughing Lab. Alex had never met anyone with a backstory as interesting as hers and was pretty much smitten from the beginning. Ozzy and Alex were married on May 14th, 2005 at the gazebo on the lake in Green Mountain Falls, a small town about 10 miles due west of here. In 2024, Ozzy completed a dental assistant program through Pikes Peak State College and began working as a dental assistant in a pediatric dental office in northern Colorado Springs. And she loves working with those kids. And so, Ozzy, we are grateful for your presence here and glad to have you celebrate Alex's retirement. Now we move on to his 2 children, Vivi, age 14, and Rosie, age 12. So Vivi, we're going to start with Vivi. She shares a birthday with Beethoven and several other members of the family. She is starting 9th grade at Manitou Springs High School in the fall. And she is already an accomplished wrestler. Yes, I said wrestler, having competed 2 years in middle school, taking 3rd place in her division. So I wouldn't mess with her after the ceremony. She also enjoys Brazilian jiu-jitsu and arts and crafts, especially bracelets, crocheting, and stealing ideas from Etsy. Now Rosie. Not to be outdone, she was born about 2.5 years after Vivi And I looked these up because you gave her a reference, professional reference for her birthday. So this is what Rosie's birthday comes up with. She was born on the same day with George Lucas, Rob Gronkowski, and Otto Klemperer. Does anyone know who Otto Klemperer is? We got a couple. How about his famous son, actor Werner Klemperer? He played Colonel Klink on Hogan's Heroes. Okay, now we're getting there. All right. So Rosie completed 6th grade at Mountain Academy of Arts and Sciences at Ute Pass Elementary and will begin 7th grade at Manitou Springs Middle School next year. She enjoys all kinds of art, painting, drawing, crafting, specializing in tiny versions of everything. And she also likes Minecraft and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Boy, that must be a fun family Friday night every now and then. Vivi and Rosie, thank you so much for being here to celebrate your dad's career. Now we move on to his siblings. I'd like to welcome his brother David, who lives in Round Rock, Texas. He works as a consultant and executive-level project manager in a chip and system design. He and his lovely wife Evelyn have 4 children, Isabel, Olivia, Mateo, and Nico. He is a natural peacemaker and finds common ground over conflict. That's a good thing to have around. He shares Alex's belief that he can probably fix anything if given enough time and finding the right tools. And he also rides motorcycles, so he's totally cool. David, Evelyn, Isabel, Olivia, Mateo, and Nico, thank you for making the trip out here to join us today. And now we move on to his sister, Clara Blitch. She is the Chief Human Resources Officer overseeing 6,000 employees at Children's Hospital of Alabama in Birmingham. She has more certifications and letters after her name than Alex has ever seen, and has spent her entire career helping others to unlock their highest potential and talents. According to Alex, she's the prankster of the family, but you'll never feel more loved while you're being teased by her. She lives in Alabama with her husband Stephen and her son Wyatt, and near her amazing daughter Elizabeth. And although they weren't able to be here with us today, we do appreciate you traveling all the way from Alabama. And brother Aaron, not to be outdone, Aaron currently works for Amazon in sales. He has helped several startups with sales, well enough for them to be bought up by Amazon-sized companies. Alex calls him the entrepreneur of the family in that sense, as he has a keen understanding of the big picture in business. He also has a great work-life balance. And Alex has always admired how he works hard and plays hard, becoming highly skilled with just about any board-shaped object that goes in the water. So Aaron lives in Southern California. That's a good place to play in the water, about 7 minutes from the beach, with his beautiful wife, Joyce, and his son, Luke. Aaron, Joyce, and Luke, welcome to Colorado. I'd also like to extend my personal welcome to the members of the United States Air Force Academy Band, especially their leadership team down in the front row, Lieutenant Colonel Herber, Chief Baisden, Chief Benton, Captain Holtz, and I think there was, Senior Master Sergeant Brian Janis is over there, and I'm going to thank him a little bit later for other things. I am also told that members of the Colorado Springs Philharmonic Orchestra and the Chamber Orchestra are in attendance, so we're graciously welcome our fellow musicians. And last but not least, we want to thank the Academy Winds for their presentation of all the pregame music before. It was great to hear you all again. And the guy hiding behind me did a wonderful job with the national anthem. Thank you, Master Sergeant Denver Murphy. Later on, we're going to see the 10th Air Base Wings Base Honor Guard do a flag folding ceremony, and I guarantee you're going to enjoy that. We have some other chiefs in the audience. I think I see the former trombone section of the Falconeers with the drummer from Wild Blue there sitting there. So we got those folks. I see Chief Balian. Let's see, I saw some other chiefs. Maybe I'm gonna miss a lot of people, but we're all glad that you're here. All right, I like to begin these solemn occasions with something funny to lighten the mood. And not me, I'm not funny per se, but keep in mind, I am not a comedian, and charity laughter is greatly appreciated. So remember, this story does not have anything to do with our honoree yet, at least of today. And so here we go. Podcaster and Chuck Swindoll shared this story from a letter he received from Joe Allen, the chaplain at Dallas Seminary, who shared a confession of sorts from one of his parishioners. I know I shouldn't have done this, but I am 83 years old. I was in the McDonald's drive-thru this morning, and the young lady behind me leaned on her horn and started mouthing some ugly things because she thought I was taking too long to place my order. That's the great thing about being retired. You can take as long as you want to order. So when I got to the first window, I paid for her order along with my own. The cashier must have told her what I'd done, because when we moved up, I looked out my rearview mirror, and she leaned out of her window and waved to me and began mouthing, "Thank you, thank you," probably feeling a little embarrassed that I had repaid her rudeness with kindness. But when I got to the second window, I showed them both receipts and took her food too. And now she had to go back to the end of the drive-thru queue and start all over again. The moral of the story is, don't blow your horn at old people, as we've been around a long time. All right, now that we've had a little fun, let's talk about the person whose career we're honoring today. Alex was born in Bethesda, Maryland, where he spent the first 4 years of his life. Then his family moved to Florida. He attended parochial schools from kindergarten through 10th grade before attending a magnet high school for gifted and talented for his junior and senior years, where he learned that there are a whole lot more smart people out there. For college, he went to the Peabody Conservatory of the Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore and worked on a dual degree program in bassoon performance and recording arts and sciences. You see, he wanted a fallback career in case music and bassoon didn't work out. Probably a good thing. From there, he went to the University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music for a master's degree in bassoon performance and had a very fortuitous meeting with a gentleman named Mark Ortwine, his Air Force predecessor, while walking to a lesson one day. Mark invited Alex to audition for the Air Force Academy Band after hearing Alex's lesson through the door as he prepared his audition for the San Jose Symphony. Alex said he joined the Air Force with a goal to save money, enough money to buy a heckle in one enlistment, and then go win, quote, a big orchestra job. While he came close with the Virginia Symphony, Mark Ortwine hooked him in by mentioning that the Academy Band had not one, but 3 heckle bassoons. So he successfully auditioned, and he began his career in the Air Force. And this is where Alex's Air Force's career is like few others, and like no other retirement over which I have presided, because normally I would like to divide a career into parts comprised of assignments, spending a few minutes on each assignment. However, Alex has had one assignment: the Air Force Academy Band of the Rockies at Peterson Air Force, now Space Force Base. Logically, it flows that the rest of my remarks should only take a few minutes. I have to fit 28 years into a few minutes. I know what some of you are thinking. Yeah, let's get this over with. Let me tell you, it's not going to happen. Alex has had a plethora, that's for you, Chief Baisden, of accomplishments. So it will be my job to hopefully capture the most important ones. So in 1998, while after spending about 6 weeks at band camp, also known as basic training at Lackland Air Force Base near San Antonio, Texas, Alex joined this organization when it was called the U.S. Air Force Band of the Rockies and belonged to Air Force Space Command. In his first 4 to 5 years, Alex averaged 1 musical performance every 4 to 5 days, performing for over 2 million audience members. And remember, these were all live audience members before we had social media like YouTube, Facebook, and all the other digital distraction platforms that we have today. He was often featured as a soloist on the Fine Arts Recital Series, and his performance reports consistently praised his musicianship. In fact, he was recognized internationally for his musicianship by being selected in the top 5 among 25 finalists worldwide in the International Double Reed Society's Gillet Fox Recital Competition. And now for all the firsts. His first collateral duty area was a library technician, and he made a positive first impression by cataloging 50 new pieces of music in his first year, many of which had 40 parts or more, and by updating 2,400 titles in the music library database. Soon thereafter, he added the title of Public Affairs Technician, assembling press kits, sponsor guides, and biographies to assist sponsors in advertising the unit's performances. And considering that the unit regularly performed between 300 and 400 public concerts annually, that's a whole lot of press kits and sponsor guides to mail out. His first music performance team was Rampart Winds, where he immediately began incorporating percussion instruments, increasing the variety of programming that was available to the ensemble. He also demonstrated a prowess for public speaking early on in his career, narrating his team's concerts with a style that was both informative and entertaining. In 2004, he became one of the inaugural members of the music performance team who performed for us earlier today, the Academy Winds. You see, in the fall of 2003, the U.S. Air Force reassigned the Band of the Rockies back to the U.S. Air Force Academy and redesignated it the U.S. Air Force Academy Band, just before the 50th anniversary of the founding of the Academy. In fact, Alex found himself in Pasadena, California on the morning of January 1st, 2004, marching down Colorado Boulevard in the 115th Tournament of Roses Parade, along with Grand Marshal, motion picture soundtrack composer, and former airman John Williams. Okay, John Williams didn't march, but he was the Grand Marshal that year for the parade, whose theme was, remember it? Oh, come on. Music, music, music. That was the theme. Pretty awesome. It also features the first three-ship stealth flyover, that is a mouthful, in history, including the F-117A Nighthawk, the B-2 Spirit, and the brand new F-22 Raptor. Yes, the F-22 was brand new at that moment. I mentioned this parade because there will be another, which has even more significant meaning to Alex's career. But I digress. Alex was part of the Academy Winds off and on for about 20 years. He has the fondest memories with that ensemble, and that's why he asked you to perform today. I happened to be here when they started, and they were very creative, to say the least. In the beginning, I think they were able to travel in one 15-passenger van, but it wasn't long after that the woodwind quintet with a percussionist needed a full box truck, and I do mean full box truck, to transport all of the instruments, props, and staging equipment that they utilized in their concerts and clinics. In addition to their regular public outreach and recruiting concerts, the Academy Winds performed at the Midwest Clinic in Chicago, along with music educator conventions in Colorado, Arkansas, and Texas. Why, they even performed the national anthem at a Denver Broncos game, singing, no less. And one of their most significant and meaningful series of engagements, however, happened on the Navajo Nation in Arizona, where the military contributions of the Navajo people during World War II were honored. Now we move to the next part of his career. In the next 6 years of service with the newly reborn Academy Band, Alex proved his musical versatility once again, saving a number of missions by performing on baritone sax with the Falconeers. His supervisor stated, with no gap in unit excellence. This was the first of many times he would fill the Manning gap with the Falcons. It was during this period also that Alex was chosen to solo with the concert band for the first of 5 tours over his career. And considering the number of musicians in the band and the limited number of touring opportunities with the concert band, this is a testament to the level of musicianship and opportunities for which Alex is most extremely grateful. I am grateful that we had the opportunity to showcase Alex and his talented colleague Monica Ding last year with our tour to the Northeast, when we presented a series of performances of Jenny Brandon's Orion Concerto. And you did really well on that. And Monica, I don't know if you're here, but you sounded wonderful too. It is too bad that Alex was upstaged on multiple occasions during some recent Holly and Ivy performances by a distracting guest contrabassonist. As one of my former colleagues would say, that's a two-beer conversation, so I'll spare you the details for now. And besides, I'm getting a little ahead of myself and ahead of Alex's career. Now, every now and then, the Air Force asks its leaders to get an upgrade. They call it Professional Military Education, or PME. For military musicians, this usually means leaving behind their primary duties to go and study something about which they may have little previous knowledge. Sometimes they do it begrudgingly, and at other times they find that it is actually rewarding and apply themselves. And while I'm not sure if he did it begrudgingly or not, what I can tell you is Alex completed the Non-Commissioned Officer Academies course as a distinguished graduate, and that is no small feat. By this time, you're beginning to see that music wasn't all that Alex did in the Air Force. He performed many other collateral duties and interests that helped the unit's mission. One of Alex's interest areas was fitness, and some would say he's a fitness fanatic, biking guru, etc. He led the band's fitness program for several years, including leading the band's intramural sports program and its participation in the annual Installation Sports Day, and multiple bike-to-work days, which you did almost every day anyway. He also coached the band's infamous softball team for multiple seasons, coaching the team to at least a few victories, especially over Team Molson, also known as the Canadians, who, let's say, had their dugout well stocked. This time period also contained one of Alex's most significant career memories, his deployment to Southwest Asia with the Air Force Central Command Band Mirage. He was able to see the power of music's effectiveness on building international partnerships in 75 performances for more than 329,000 people in 5 nations. As we begin to look at Sergeant Vieira's next career segment, we will begin to see him becoming an influential unit leader. First, Alex becomes the non-commissioned officer of charge of Academy Wins. That team would go on to appear on multiple television broadcasts and produce a recording project that garnered second-place media awards 2 years in a row at the Air Force level for Outstanding Small Composition. Second, he becomes the non-commissioned officer of the unit's repair shop, and this turned out to be one of his favorite jobs. As he put it, quote, "I got to work with my hands every day. I didn't care if I was fixing broken wheels on a road case or fabricating a crazy device for that percussion section, as long as I got to be creative with mechanical solutions to problems." Third, he becomes the head drum major for the unit. And if you're not familiar with the ceremonial band mission here at the U.S. Air Force Academy Band, it is one of the most visible missions in the Air Force, performing for all major cadet wing parades and ceremonies to include the annual graduation at Falcon Stadium that normally culminates with the Thunderbirds flyover and show. Remember I said normally. Well, the last 2 years there was maybe a flyover, but no show. But Alex wasn't the drum major. Maybe there's a correlation. Maybe not. I don't know. During his tenure as drum major, which lasted nearly a decade, he led the unit's ceremonial band in multiple parades, ceremonies, and other public performances. That included the Colorado International Tattoo. Distinguished visitors of those events included the President of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Secretary of the Air Force, the Chief of Space Operations, and the Chief of Staff of the Air Force. Perhaps the most impactful moment in his career, though, occurred on the international stage. In 2016, he was selected to be drum major for the United States Air Force Total Force Band, featuring 104 members from 10 units comprised of active duty bands, Air National Guard bands, and Honor Guard units. His meticulous approach and planning steered the team toward its exemplary team cohesion, overcoming challenging weather conditions to exceed all assigned tasks and requirements for 3 high-visibility missions, culminating with the 2017 Tournament of Roses parade in Pasadena, California on January 2nd. There's a very memorable photo of Alex standing in uniform on the field during the field show exhibition called BandFest that you can find on marching.com. It shows Alex from behind in his drum major uniform, comes completely soaked as the rain continues to fall by the bucket during the entire 7-minute performance of the Total Force Band. And I can remember that I saw one of the captions that they used that photo, and there was just one word on that photo. It just said, commitment. The Rose Parade was the official kickoff mission to the Air Force's 70th anniversary commemoration and reached 76.5 million viewers via international broadcast outlets. For his help with another high-visibility mission, I am personally grateful for Alex's role in supporting the state funeral of George Herbert Walker Bush, the 41st President of the United States. Alex, your efforts to ensure that the Academy Band's team members were deployed to Houston on time and ready to perform were simply invaluable. Having had the privilege of leading the band portion of Task Force Texas, I can tell you that there was enough stuff that went sideways once we were on the ground. The most important thing to me was to have the team assembled, ready to perform at the highest level and look sharp, and your efforts did just that. So please accept my sincere thanks and appreciation. And now for the final portion of his career, and of course, I won't touch on everything that's in the last decoration, which we'll hear in just a moment, but once you reach a certain level of rank and responsibility in the military, you are asked to step away from doing a bunch of tasks. Not all tasks, but the tactical level, hands-on stuff. You were then asked to lead teams of people in order to accomplish the mission. And you might be asked to do something unusual. For instance, the MC for the superintendent's change of command ceremony had always been a commissioned officer. But Alex was selected by audition to be the first ever enlisted MC for that ceremony in 2020. It was the first ceremony I attended as the unit's commander, and it was at the height of the pandemic in a very empty Falcon Stadium. Nonetheless, but all the principals were in attendance: the Secretary of the Air Force, the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, and the Chief of Space Operations. And you knocked it out of the park. During the last years of his career, not only did Alex continue to lead the ceremonial band as head drum major, but he took on the task of taking care of people by ensuring all the administrative tasks that help people's careers and financial situations were accomplished. In this role of Section Chief of Administration, he resolved 667 records errors and ensured the completion of 750 personnel tasks. Additionally, he did so much to help the continuity between the Academy Band, the Academy Protocol, and the Academy's drill and ceremonies to recover from the challenges incurred from the pandemic that we owe him a debt of gratitude for working all of those relationships to ensure that everything was successful as things began to return to normal. Okay, that's most of Senior Master Sergeant Vieira's career in a nutshell, but I'm not quite finished yet. I must make sure that we also recognize the service of his family. So Ozzy, Vivi, and Rosie, whether you realize it or not, you serve the Air Force along with your husband and father. They're looking at me like I have a third eye in the middle of my forehead. You supported him just by being his family. And I know he probably let you down a few times because his nation called him out of town on a mission, or he had a pressing deadline that kept him working into the wee hours. When a military member goes TDY, that is usually when the dishwasher breaks or the clothes washer starts to leak or some other major household repair is needed, and Ozzy is shaking her head up and down. He also probably missed a few important milestones like birthdays and holidays and wrestling matches. I want to make sure that you know that you are all appreciated for all of these occasions where Alex was called to duty. So on behalf of the United States Air Force and a grateful nation, thank you for your sacrifice and your service. There is still life ahead of Alex after the Air Force, so what will he be doing next? Well, you can ask him after the show, but we'll give you a little bit of a heads up here. He will not be putting down his bassoon anytime soon, and he will continue to perform with the Colorado Springs Philharmonic. In fact, I thought I heard him say on a recent phone call that he bought a heckle. So, for those of you who don't know, that's a really expensive German-made bassoon. So that's a pretty big accomplishment. You can choose a Heckel or a brand new Honda Pilot. Cost is about the same. All right. During the last 6 months, he has had a great SkillBridge experience learning about the civilian side of arts management with the Chamber Orchestra of the Springs, and he has an interest in seeing that organization continue their upward trajectory. And if that includes him, he'd be excited for the opportunity. If not, he'll always be a loud champion for their cause. He also had a great time volunteering at the Pedal Bike Station Bike Shop, which is a community bike shop that supports kids on bikes and mountain equipment recyclers. He hopes to continue working there, possibly being paid, but he is also happy to continue volunteering as well. I imagine that he will continue to enjoy his many hobbies, including bicycles, cars, especially old VWs, EVs, and most recently, Jeeps. Okay. Exploring the mountains and figuring out ways to use renewable solar energy, for which he has some training. He has also begun working on getting his private pilot's license, so I hope you have some extra insurance. Alex, whatever you may end up doing, we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. And now for my advice. Yes, there's a little advice, but it's really not my advice. It's the advice that I gleaned from one of our Air Force's finest generals, General Darren McDew. He always reminded the retiree that you can look at your family and you can talk to your family, but don't look at them while you talk to them. You'll see what happens. In closing, I'd like to give you a blessing in honor of my Irish-born grandfather, who was a U.S. Navy chaplain in the Pacific during World War II. May the rose rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. On behalf of every airman everywhere, thank you for your service and the service of your family. We all join in to celebrate what you have accomplished during your career and look forward to what you will accomplish in the future. So without further ado, Alex, if you'd like to get retired, I invite you to join me in center of the stage.
Room, attention!
To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America, authorized by Executive Order 16 January 1969, has awarded the Meritorious Service Medal, 3rd Oak Leaf Cluster, to Senior Master Sergeant Alejandro Vieira for meritorious service 1 August 2024 to 18 July 2026. Senior Master Sergeant Alejandro Vieira distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States while assigned to the United States Air Force Academy Band, Peterson Space Force Base, Colorado. As Section Chief, he expertly led an 8-member team for a 62-member unit where he diligently resolved 55 personnel records and 16 complex pay issues to guarantee mission readiness. He also volunteered 141 hours with the headquarters command support staff, mitigating manning gaps after a sudden 240 civilian workforce reduction at the Air Force Academy, driving fitness delinquencies below 1% for 425 members, and aligning training for 600 personnel with the superintendent's strategic goals. Furthermore, his remarkable musical versatility was demonstrated on 39 events, reaching a live and media audience of 257 million, while saving the Air Force $10,000 by filling 4 critical unmanned roles. His professionalism culminated when chosen by the Dean of Faculty to MC the 2025 United States Air Force Academy Graduation Awards Ceremony, honoring 115 new second lieutenants before 4,000 attendees. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Sergeant Vieira culminate a long and distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the Air Force, given under my hand 1 June 2026, Ahab E. Brown, Jr., Colonel, United States Air Force, Commander, 10th Air Base Wing.
Attention to orders. Special Order Alpha Charlie-010484. Senior Master Sergeant Alejandro Vieira, Peterson Space Force Base, Colorado. Effective 30 June 2026, you are relieved from active duty, organization, and station assignment. Retired effective 1 July 2026 per Department of the Air Force Instruction 36-3203 in the grade of Senior Master Sergeant by the order of the Secretary of the Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. For more than 200 years, the American flag has been the symbol of our nation's unity, as well as a source of pride and inspiration for millions of citizens. Born on June 14th, 1777, the Second Continental Congress determined that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternating between 7 red and 6 white, and that union be 13 stars, white in a blue field representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and 1960, the shape and design of the flag evolved into the flag presented before you today. The 13 horizontal stripes represent the original 13 colonies, while the stars represent the 15 states of the Union. The colors of the flag are symbolic as well. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor. White signifies purity and innocence. And blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Traditionally, a symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both at home and abroad. In 1814, Francis Scott Key was so moved at seeing the stars and stripes waving after the British shelling of Baltimore's Fort McHenry that he wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. In 1892, the flag inspired Francis Bellamy to write the Pledge of Allegiance, our most famous flag salute and patriotic oath. In July of 1969, the American flag was flown in space, where Neil Armstrong planted it on the surface of the moon. Today, our flag flies on constellations of Air Force satellites that circle our globe and on the fin flash of our aircraft in harm's way in every corner of the world. Indeed, it flies in the heart of every airman who serves our great nation. The sun never sets on our Air Force, nor on the flag we so proudly cherish. Since 1776, no generation of Americans has been spared the responsibility of defending freedom. Today's airmen remain committed to preserving the freedom that others won for us, for generations to come. By displaying the flag and giving it the distinctive fold, we show respect to the flag and express our gratitude to those individuals who fought and continue to fight for freedom at home and abroad. Since the dawn of the 20th century, airmen have proudly flown the flag in every major conflict on lands and skies around the world. It is their responsibility, our responsibility, to continue to protect and preserve the rights, privileges, and freedoms that we, as Americans, enjoy today. The United States flag represents who we are. It stands for the freedom we all share and the pride and patriotism we feel for our country. We cherish its legacy as a beacon of hope to one and all. Long may it wave. I now invite Senior Master Sergeant Vieira's wife, Ozzie, to please come forward and join her husband. Ozzie will now place the official retirement pin on her husband's lapel. Colonel Willen will now present the Certificate of Retirement to Sergeant Vieira. It states, Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that Senior Master Sergeant Alejandro Vieira, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Air Force on the first day of July, 2026. Signed, General David W. Alvin, Chief of Staff, United States Air Force, and Colonel Ahab E. Brown, Commander, 10th Air Base Wing. Colonel Willen will now present the Presidential Certificate to Sergeant Vieira. Certificate of Appreciation for Service in the Armed Forces of the United States of America. Senior Master Sergeant Alejandro Vieira, I extend my personal gratitude and the sincere appreciation of a grateful nation to you for your patriotic service to our country. Your bravery and dedication in our armed forces helped protect your fellow Americans during a critical moment in our history and contributed to a world of greater security and growing prosperity. Your devotion to duty, honor, and country, in keeping with the long traditions of the finest military in the world, embodied the American ideal of selfless service. Our nation owes you an incredible debt. Your commitment and the example you set will inspire future generations to serve with pride and to keep our country secure. You represent the best in our nation, and I join our fellow Americans in saluting your honorable service. I wish you happiness and success in your next chapter. Joseph R. Biden, Commander-in-Chief. Colonel Willen will now present to Senior Master Sergeant Vieira a certificate of appreciation from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. Certificate of Appreciation from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. I am proud to join your friends and family in congratulating you on your retirement from the United States Air Force. Senior Master Sergeant Alejandro Vieira, the achievements and contributions you have made throughout your career are indicative of the core values of our great service. Your retirement is well-deserved, but your selfless contributions will be sorely missed. On behalf of all airmen, thank you for your faithful and devoted service to our nation. As this chapter of your life closes and a new one begins, I hope the years ahead are filled with more great memories and continued success. Signed, David A. Flosey, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, it is customary to recognize the spouse's contribution with a certificate to recognize the support and sacrifices they make during the retiree's career. Mrs. Vieira, would you please come forward and join your husband? Colonel Willen will now present Mrs. Vieira with the Air Force Spouse Certificate of Appreciation from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. It reads, on behalf of all Air Force airmen and their families, the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force presents this certificate of appreciation to Azaduhi A. Vieira. I join your spouse, family, and friends in thanking you for the numerous contributions and sacrifices you made in support of our United States Air Force. Your dedication gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service and defense of our nation. Signed, David A. Flosey, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. Next, we have a certificate of appreciation for Ozzy from the Chief of Staff of the Air Force. It reads, in grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to Azadui A. Vieira for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service, given the first day of July 2026. Signed, General David W. Alvin, Chief of Staff, United States Air Force, and Colonel Ahave E. Brown, Commander, 10th Air Base Wing. And now, don't go anywhere yet. Don't go anywhere yet. Come back. Colonel Willem will make a presentation to Mrs. Vieira on behalf of the band.
So it's on. Okay, great. It's got to get through this part. Oh, can't look at you. That's right. Can't talk and look at you. That's right. Not at the same time. I think that Ozzy has been hearing me say I'm going to retire since our second date. Maybe it was in the first date. Or that I was going to get out, or that I was done with this. I needed to move on. It's been something she's heard for so many years. And seeing me make so many plans for what I want to do next that she stopped believing that it would ever happen. And she would roll her eyes, including 2 years ago when I should have reached the high year tenure for Senior Master Sergeant at 26 years, and the Air Force said, hey, this small collection of people, we didn't meet end strength. If you want to say 2 more years, you may. And I told Ozzy, she just rolled her eyes like, you've got to be kidding me. But now that you put this pin on me, it's for real. I'm pretty sure there's no turning back at this point. So all these years, the times I've been gone, the stuff that's gone wrong while I've been gone, but the amazing times we've had together. That trip to Pasadena, the first Tournament of Roses parade that I did with the band in 2003, this was a total force band thing. We had met and started dating maybe 8 months before, and I had a great idea. I said, let's drive to Pasadena. We'll make a big trip out of it. It'll be great. And we'll take our Volkswagen camper. Well, at the time, just mine, now ours. But we'll camp our way across the United States to get to Pasadena from December 25th to January 1st. And as you might imagine, there were some trials along the way, waking up at Sand Dunes National Monument, and the bus was 10 degrees inside, and then waking up even before that, we got to the Grand Canyon. We stopped in Four Corners area to go to Mesa Verde, and we're told by a very friendly police officer to please don't try to camp in negative 25-degree snowstorm at Mesa Verde National Park. And he turned us around and sent us back into town to get a hotel. Probably a smart move. This whole trip was like that. Every night was a different trial to get through. And she was there at the end of it. I said, if she can put up with this nonsense, she can put up with anything. And I thought she must be the one. So, thank you for all of these years. I couldn't have done this without you.
Vivi and Rosie, would you like to join your parents on the stage, please? The Air Force Academy Band would also like to recognize these young ladies for their service to our nation, and the band by their support of their father. These flowers are a small token of our appreciation. No, they're not on here.
I would like to read these. Sure. This is a certificate of appreciation, and it's actually it's from Colonel. Would you like to read it? Absolutely. It's
barely big enough so I don't have to pull out the old glasses. So this is a certificate of appreciation for the children of an Air Force member. An Air Force daughter is a very special, strong, and resilient type of person. She's a very key and important member of an Air Force family. Air Force daughters do not volunteer to be in the Air Force. They literally are born into it, and you too were. They sacrifice as much for their country as their parents. They know what it means to pack up and leave old friends just to start over and make new friends. They know what it means to have their dad miss a school play, a sporting event, a recital, a birthday, or a holiday just because he had to work late, travel, TDY, or deploy. In fact, it is every bit as challenging to be an Air Force daughter as it is to be in the Air Force. Ultimately, Air Force daughters understand that their job is very important to the Air Force and to the nation because they realize that they are the reason their dad gave so much time to the United States Air Force. So thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and support through all the years of your father's service, signed by little old me. Congratulations. Here you go.
And at this time, we have a few presentations from the United States Air Force Academy Band. Would Sergeants Dawson, Welker, and Jackson, on behalf of the ceremonial band, please join us? Oh, pardon me. Hey, baby, this is live. Would you like to join us on stage, ma'am? This is Alex's mother, Ann Vieira.
So, this might be the hardest one of all because Dad's not here. And you're standing in for both of you. I came to you after on and off playing clarinet and practicing and taking lessons and then not taking lessons, then taking lessons and not taking lessons. And generally not accomplishing a lot, but doing some things. And I came in between 7th and 8th grade and I said, I saw a girl playing bassoon in this summer band camp thing and I want to play bassoon. And I said, what's a bassoon? And I had to go find a catalog where one might purchase a bassoon, and they saw the price and they said, no, nope. But I was persistent and I kept asking, and like so many of my students are too, they're the kids that just keep bugging their parents forever. I think I've got one sitting right out there who was that way, Mr. Henry. Kept bugging his parents forever to play bassoon. So the bassoon kind of finds you, but they did eventually relent and were unbelievably supportive. To hear that their son was going to go major in music, that they say, we support you. I imagine, as now that I'm a parent, I might go, oh gosh, okay, yes dear. And I really appreciate all of the support that you and Dad gave me over the years. It couldn't have been possible without you. And I hope you can accept this on behalf of us, both of you, because he would have liked to have been here too, I'm sure.
Beautiful. Now, please welcome Sergeants Dawson, Welker, and Jackson on behalf of the ceremonial band for a presentation.
I don't get to keep an ace.
Thanks. Alex, you're a really great friend. You're a really great wingman. You set a great example. I'm sad that you're going to be going. And one of the main reasons, not just personally that I won't be around my friend as much anymore, but the amount of corporate knowledge that is stuck inside your brain that's walking outside the door, you know. The culture and heritage of this organization is really important, and it lives in the tradition that's passed down from one person to the next. That's how we do things as drum majors. So with Gerald and Chris here, I just want to say that the tradition that has been passed down and will continue has been going on since before any of us were born. And it's a really special thing that's born of this place, and this is a special place. So I want to thank you for being a really faithful steward of our heritage as part of this band. So from your drum majors, we have a little something for you. Funny you should mention. This is the prototype of our new mace that you won't have had the chance to carry, nor will I. But this is not marchingband.com for $300. This is a custom piece of artwork created by the bladesmiths who make the sabers for the Air Force Academy cadets. And this is not a generic eagle. This is the eagle and fledgling statue that you could see if you had just line of sight right over there on the terrazzo. So I really don't know what you're going to do with this thing, but it's for you.
And now please welcome Master Sergeant Gerald Walker on behalf of Academy Winds.
All right, I know some older Academy Winds folks are here, so we are old. Former. Yeah, we're old. Like I was thinking earlier, just driving here, I'm like, man, it seems like just yesterday we were starting this whole journey. I know that my journey with you started in 2009, where I joined Academy Winds, and it was such a cool group to join because they just got back from a deployment. And there's like, well, you're going to be with the Woodwind Quintet. I'm like, oh, that's cool. We're going to sit in the little box and play. But quickly learned that that wasn't going to be the case, that this group was a variety hour every single time we got on the stage. And a lot of the reason it got to be that way was because of this man right here. Alex Vieira was integral at the creativity and the ingenuity of that group becoming what it became. And I've never met, I've said this to numerous people in the band, I've said it to you personally, I think, but I've never met a more talented musician in my life. He is one of the best musicians I've ever met in my life. So to get to work with him and to get to create music with him and to pick his brain and to be in the group with him and to go from Academy Band to Academy Breeze, which we were 4 of us, and we just turned it to singing and beating buckets on the stage and to wearing inflatable helmets on stage. It's a long story. But there are a lot of things that we've had to do that's like, I'm surprised to still have a career. However,
I have an idea. How about we try?
How about we try, yes.
Started like that.
You know, if you want to know some of those stories, ask me later. There's some funny ones. There's some good ones, but he always kept it light. But without him, it wouldn't happen. You've brought so much to this unit, not only in Academy Winds, drum major, but as a leader and as a friend. So from Academy Winds, we have this little token of, so you could take your beautiful wife to dinner at the Rabbit Hole. So anyway, thank you for all of your service and all of your friendship, time, commitment to this organization. We're going to miss you.
Thanks.
All right, yeah.
And now please welcome Senior Master Sergeant Select Jamie Parker on behalf of the Falconeers.
So I am here to talk about the Falconeers and Alex, but before I do that, I'm going to tell you a story that has nothing to do with the Falconeers, but it's a good one. So bear with me.
Because he was there.
I was there.
Really close.
Yes, yes. So Colonel Willen was also there, and he mentioned the Total Force Band back in 2016 doing the Tournament of Roses parade. And it was about 100 people in the formation. And one of the performances that we had was at Disneyland, Anaheim, marching down Main Street, USA, and doing a retreat ceremony at the flagpole. And Alex was the drum major. And as the drum major does before every gig, they talk you through the gig. Backstage at Disneyland, Alex gave us the talk, said, I'm gonna march you up to the flagpole, I'm gonna halt the band, I'm gonna give you a left haste, and we're gonna do the ceremony, right? I call this story the right haste of doom. We get out to the flagpole, Alex halts the band, calls a right haste. Now, that would have faced us away from the flagpole. So half the band knew his intent, turned left. The other half of the band, having ingrained since the first day of basic training that you do whatever your boss tells you to do, whether it makes sense to you or not, turned right. So now we have 100 people facing two opposite directions. I look out of the corner of my eye at Alex. Sheer panic. I'm thinking, what is he gonna do? That's what he was thinking too. So he just starts calling left haste until the whole band is facing the right direction and everybody figures it out. Continue the ceremony. And it went off without a hitch after that. But I tell you that story for a reason, because after we finished that, we went back to the backstage area at Disney, and Alex stood up in front of us with tears in his eyes and took full accountability for the mistake. And it taught us something about leadership and character, because Alex took accountability when a lot of other leaders would have maybe tried to sweep it under the rug or act like it didn't happen. And he showed vulnerability in front of all of us. You know, it meant a lot to him. The mission meant a lot. And it showed us that what we were doing was important. And not just to us and to Alex, but to the Air Force and to the millions of Americans and people all over the world who were watching. And so we went on to do the parade the next day in front of millions, and it went off without a hitch. Alex had picked himself up, dusted himself off, and kept going. He showed the resiliency of a true leader. And so I want to thank you for that lesson and for the story.
Oh, good story. The moral of that story is that two wrongs don't make a right, but three lefts does.
That's good.
I've had 7 years to think of that.
Yes. And so I've already taken too much time, but I will bring it back to the Falconaires, and a lot of people have already talked about what an amazing musician Alex is, and he's also a very talented saxophone player, and as was already mentioned, he's sat in with the Falconaires many times when the team was down a person, and it's very rare, for those of you who don't know, for a classical bassoon player to be able to play saxophone on that level, much less understand jazz and jazz articulation, and be able to sit in with the Falconaires seamlessly and be asked back over and over again to play with us. And so it's really a remarkable talent, and we really appreciate the camaraderie and the musicianship and all the missions we were able to do because of you. And so we have this little gesture of our appreciation. This is a picture of Alex performing with the Falconaires at the Dillon Amphitheater a number of years back. We've all signed it on the back, and here's the mounting hardware. So, Alex, thank you.
And now please welcome Master Sergeant Jackson and Technical Sergeant Gardner, the bassoon section.
So, Sergeant Vieira, before I met you in 2022, I had heard about you 12 years prior. Even back then, you had made an impression on so many people that your name had begun circulating around Air Force band circles. And the people that spoke about you said things like, he's an amazing musician. And this wasn't just their observation, they were visibly humbled while they said that. They also said, he's outgoing, he's a great guy, you should meet him. He's a role model. So you can imagine what it was like meeting you in 2022. And on top of that, seeing that everything they said was actually all true. You're an amazing musician. You really take care of others. In that way, you're all heart. And it means the world that I got the chance to play with you. Thank you for not retiring a couple years early, but thank you for extending another couple of years.
Thanks, Air Force.
Something I'm very grateful for. I really value the time we've had together. I really value the memories. And I know that this next chapter, you're going to put your life in yet another gear and keep going faster, higher, louder. So, Alex, thank you. It's been a wonderful ride.
Thank you. Oh, boy.
Alex, I actually never knew you before I came to the band, or knew of you.
Never heard of you.
But actually, I do have an interesting artifact of the first time I ever read Alex's name. It was actually an email that he sent out advertising the position for the audition of bassoon here. And I'm going to read it in a second. It's pretty, you can tell he was sentimental in thinking about his career. And from his perspective, I think it's pretty cool. It says, I can tell you from personal experience that I never expected to join the Air Force as a musician, and that as a student, I only aspired to win an audition with an orchestra. However, I lucked into learning about this hidden gem of a premier band 24 years ago, and I feel incredibly fortunate that I was able to make a career out of serving my country and performing with some amazingly talented colleagues here at the Academy Band. I've had an incredible career performing in 8 countries, 46 states, inspiring patriotism in audiences around our country, honoring our nation and those who have served in all branches of our armed forces, and connecting and building cultural bridges with audiences around the world through the power of music. I've also been part of more than a dozen recordings, both concert band, chamber music, attended and performed at IDRS conferences, and have been featured on television, radio, internet to millions around the world. I honestly could never have predicted 24 years ago that my decision to audition for the Academy Band would have led to so many opportunities. So it's really amazing to me to just look back on this email and just like realize, man, he really duped me. Anyway, I'll give it back to Sergeant Jackson. He'll present our gift.
I'm amazed you have that email. Holy cow.
So the last thing, we have a gift for Sergeant Vieira, and we know that he is a bassoon player's bassoonist. We're all funny people. We have our unique qualities. Alex has a custom license plate that will tell you a little bit about who he is. You know that Alex is an Air Force bassoonist. It's a part of his identity. But you're about to retire, and we wanted to help you make that transition.
Oh, no.
And we thought we'd do it with a little bit of clothing and even a new uniform, something that'll really help him with the change in identity, the addition of civilian select and full civilian. So Carl and I got a T-shirt that we thought you might like.
Yes, it looks like it. The art skills are definitely in music, not so much in drawing.
So consider this your first issued uniform item for a civilian life.
I will wear it proudly.
We're going to miss you.
Thanks, buddy. I just want to say real quick that I sent that email out to 100 universities, all of my colleagues that I ever run across. I want to find some I want to find someone better than me to replace me. And those guys have so far exceeded our expectations. They're amazing players. And I think maybe you don't think of my life being safer because we got good bassoon players in the Air Force, but it's true. And those are outstanding guys. Couldn't have picked two better folks to come and fill our section. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it so much.
And now we have Senior Master Sergeant Janice, our first sergeant.
So this gift is not on behalf of anyone, just me. I've known Alex literally my entire career. He's been a great mentor to me. He's one of my BFFs in the Air Force this whole time. We softball, hang out, have lunch together, bike rides, political debates even, and all of it is fun, all of it. And, makes me a little bit sad that you have to go, but I'm glad you're not going terribly far. And one thing that, several things that Alex and I agree on wholeheartedly, of course, is that this man believes in the Air Force. He believes in the power of music. He believes in integrity, service, and excellence, 100%. So I was brainstorming with Ozzy on what to get you for this next chapter. Yes, just a little bit.
Wait, what?
And the two things that she brought up are little accessories, doodads for your Jeep. Because that's another thing that the two of us have in common is we love road trips with our families. We love adventures. We love exploring new places. So in this box right here, we have some Jeep doodads. She said you'd either like something funny or something to do with your Jeep. So I got you a little bit of both. There's some practical things in here for your Jeep. Well, some of them are practical, and some of them are rubber duckies. Because every Jeep seems to have rubber duckies, so you got to have some rubber duckies if you're going to be driving around a Jeep. So, yeah, it's been quite a ride. Don't be a stranger, at least no stranger than me, and let's make sure that we don't lose touch for sure.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you. You brought the first down, so good for you. I'll put this back on the table.
Ozzy, please come back to the stage. This one was off the script, sir.
Okay, I'll allow it.
I don't have a speech. I didn't know when I would give the gift at all. But I have waited a really long time for this moment. About 23 years. So he's done a wonderful job at the Air Force, and I have something for the future. It's a shirt.
The real question is, how long has it been in the closet waiting to be given to me? Thank you, sweetie. That's awesome.
Sergeant Janice, do I understand we have a mail call? Okay, no mail for you. Colonel Willen and Master Sergeant Vitale, please come forward once again and join Senior Master Sergeant Vieira.
Sure.
Oh my gosh, Senior Vieira. That thing's a little heavy, so it might, we'll take the photo and then we can maybe rest that aside so nobody's arms fall off. So I'm Sergeant Rob Vitale. I've had the pleasure of knowing Senior Vieira for my entire career of 12 and a half years. I'm inherently a good public speaker. I like to speak from the heart at these sorts of instances, but speaking from the heart doesn't come without its consequences. And Alex and I have commiserated over the years over a shared affliction that we both have. An affliction that Colonel Willen refers to as emotional reflux, which when you speak from the heart it can be an issue. But we know from that mission we did in 2018 what we do when emotional reflux kicks in. Which, if you don't get the reference, that's Chris Farley from Tommy Boy, which is just a funny little gag to get your brain off of whatever your tears are pouring out at the time. The shadow box that I put together for Alex, I call adeptly Vieira in a box, and it's reflection of his 28 years of service to the Air Force and this really incredibly fine organization, the United States Air Force Academy Band, which has had its ups and downs over the years, and Senior Vieira has been a part of those ups and downs for the last 28 years, and I have greatly benefited from his knowledge and experience. The word mentor comes up a lot for Alex. I'm going to come full circle to that at the very end. For me, mentor doesn't quite cover it. Speaking of his incredible musicianship, I served with him for 5 years in Academy Wins, which, as of a week ago, I became an Academy Wins alumni. So I am
Former member.
I am a former member, just like Senior Vieira. And what a privilege it was serving with him in that ensemble. We served for about 5 years, and then there was a mission that came up along the way where Sergeant Jackson couldn't be there. And Alex suited back up to assume his role and discipline as amazing bassoon player for a mission that we had downtown. It was actually for at a hotel downtown for Martin Luther King Jr.'s nephew, who was a keynote speaker for an event. And we had one rehearsal, and he was in, and we were at the rehearsal. I remember we were rehearsing George Gershwin's Summertime, a piece I had done for half a decade with the group. And Alex was sitting next to me, which was a change, because sometimes the bassoon's in the back of a woodwind quintet. And we got to a section, and he cuts the group off, and he leans into me, and he says, C sharp. And I looked at him, and I said, huh? He says, that note, that's a C sharp. I said, it is? He goes, yeah, look at your key signature. And I had been playing it wrong for 5 years with that ensemble. Then we just kept going along. We got to the end of the piece, and I think it was the second to last measure, and he leaned in again and goes, it's another C sharp. Another note I was playing wrong for 5 years. And it's just a testament to his ears and how incredibly in tune that he is with music around him. And also, on the other side of that, someone who has the confidence to call stuff when he sees it, when he hears it. And it's what has shaped him to be such an incredible leader and friend. I mentioned the word mentor earlier. I'm just going to sum up what I have to say with a very brief line that I think will cover it perfectly. Alex is the older brother I always wanted.
So the inscription on that shadow box reads, Senior Master Sergeant Alejandro Vieira, 17 June 1990 to 1 July 98. To 1 July 2026. In recognition of 28 years of exemplary service to the nation and the United States Air Force. All right, so next, Colonel Willen will present a framed print of the United States Air Force Academy Band executive staff. And the inscription on this frame reads, Senior Master Sergeant Alejandro Vieira, in recognition of a career marked by excellence, integrity, and lasting impact on the United States Air Force Academy Band, 17 June 1998 to 30 June 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time I present to you Senior Master Sergeant Alejandro Vieira, United States Air Force, retired.
Thank you. Okay, sit down. I'm the only thing between you and cake, and you know it, okay? First, before I say anything, I wanted to correct 3 errors, and I feel strongly about this kind of stuff because I want it to go right. The first was something that was totally on me. At the very beginning of the ceremony, the honor guard, as you might have seen, was around the corner, and they're all lined up, ready to come out and present the colors. Fortunately, the colors are already posted, so it was okay that we had the anthem without them posting the colors or bringing the colors out. But I encouraged Denver to go ahead and start the anthem. I blew it, so oops. I'm going to go say sorry to them afterwards, but they did an amazing job with the flag folding, so a big thank you to the honor guard here at USAFA. The second thing I want to correct is, they're kind of together, and those are 2 people that are here that were a huge impact for me. They didn't get their own call out, but I think they really do deserve it, and one of them is Lieutenant Colonel retired Dan Price, sitting right back there, former commander of the Academy Band. Yes, absolutely. Colonel Price was the first commander who said, this guy can probably do more than we're letting him do yet. And so he was the one who put me in charge of the marching band. It was kind of a trial by fire in that we were doing a military tattoo, and at the last rehearsal before the tattoo, the actual drum major, Tim Allums, took ill and could not possibly have been there, and I was in training as a drum major but had not really done anything in front of the band and had to get out there and run them through a tattoo, which is not just marching the band around and like driving a car. This is like a complicated thing you have to do. You have your part, and they're all doing their parts and doing formations on the floor of the arena. And he talked me through it for about 20, 25 minutes on the phone, and then he had to go. And I had to go out there and kick off this rehearsal, and it went well enough, I suppose, where they had the confidence to then say, I think it's time for you to step up a little bit, and that was my first opportunity to lead a group of people that size. I had been put in charge of Academy Wins, also in a little bit of an emergency situation, which I'll get to in a little bit, but this was the first time I'd led a large group of people, and I really appreciate the confidence, Colonel, that you had in me at that time. Then the last person is someone who's been a great friend over the years. He's came here many years ago, took some time off, went away, and came back again, and is now a Chief Master Sergeant and my supervisor and a great friend, and that's Chief Andrew Benton right up here in the front. You didn't get his introduction earlier, but I wanted to make sure that everyone knew you were here because I think you're awesome and you deserve that recognition. So there's, I have to, first of all, say thank you to all the people that made this happen. I look out here and I'm amazed that there are this many people here. I've been here for 28 years. I've made a lot of friends. I know a lot of people in town, but still, there are people here who I never would have expected to be here, people who came from out of town, people who made a huge effort. All of my family here, coming from different states, California, Alabama, Texas. And they showed up here from Texas, and it was 101 degrees yesterday. I think they were a little confused. Fortunately, today is a little bit nicer. But I really appreciate all of you making that trip. It means so much to me that you're here. I want to thank the folks here at Polaris Hall that make this possible. This is an amazing space, isn't it? Something that I've done many ceremonies sitting right over there in that box.
playing for other people's retirements, and when it was time for me to start planning, I thought, you know, I bet this would be a nice spot. And then security forces had other opinions about how easy it was to get in here. So all of you who struggled with security forces and getting your permission, getting your pass done, thank you. I know it was a hassle, and I appreciate the extra effort involved, but I think that this space is really, really worth it. Thanks, Terry Perdue, for the fact that you can hear me talk at all right now. And thanks to Jeff and his crew for providing the live stream for all the folks who are not able to be here, but who are watching as far away, I believe, as Malaga, Spain, where some great friends of mine, the Poffenbargers, are still on their European vacation. Look, Dad, Big Ben. I wanted to thank Academy Wins. You guys are amazing. My heart will always be with that group. It means so much to me that it's performing at such a high level. You sound so, so good. And I know you're going to do amazing things with Academy Wins. It was a kind of group where there was already a woodwind quintet in the band called Rampart Winds, and I had played in that group for 5 years. And they wanted to start another group, and this other group decided we don't want to play in the same sandbox, so we're going to do everything different. And so we tried everything. Crazy, crazy stuff, and there were some failed experiments. It wasn't all unicorns and rainbows. But I think that what I learned from that is that all the people who are in the group bring their unique combination of skills and talents that make the group different every time. I did the math on this, and I was in Academy Wins with 30 different people. And I could not say that there was a combination of people that was better or worse than any of them, because they all brought something completely unique, and it allowed us to do something that we had not been able to do before they showed up. So I want to thank all of them. I could go down the list, but take a few minutes for me to read them all. But I think that it's important to recognize that everybody brings something. There are times when we don't get to choose who's in the group with us. We don't get to choose the people that we work with. They show up, and that's who we are. You got to dance with whom you brung, as they say. And I think it's really important to find those positive things that people bring that could really change in a new and interesting direction what you didn't know you could do before. And that happened over and over and over with Academy Wins. Like I said, I was put in charge in kind of an emergency situation. There was a tour that was already built, and Sarah's smiling at this because she was tasked she was given orders to leave our band and go in a direction that, if I might be so bold to say, was maybe not your first choice of things to do that summer, and ended up going into a field where she was translating for the U.S. government and ended up doing unbelievable work. It's an amazing job that she did, and I don't think that at the time you knew it was going to be like that, but we also lost our percussionist at the same time because we had just become a regional band. He had the ability to go to Europe to be in the band in Germany because his wife was from Hungary and he wanted to go and explore that option. We lost those two people 8 weeks before a tour was supposed to hit the road, and they said, "Here you go, Alex, fix that." So we had to come up with some really creative solutions, and the four of us that were left I can't thank you guys enough for coming together, being willing to try some of the crazy ideas that I had, playing buckets, singing. That was our very first time singing as a group, which went on to some amazing opportunities, as Colonel mentioned, leading ultimately to singing the national anthem at a Denver Broncos game, which is a little overwhelming, I gotta admit. So all of the iterations of Academy Wins that I was in over the years were just amazing. And I know that you guys are gonna do amazing things next. It's gonna be different than what we did. It doesn't have to be the same. You're gonna do stuff that we never thought of, and I look forward to hearing what that's like. So I wanna thank Colonel Willen for your amazing remarks. It is weird to sit in a chair over there as someone talks about you and things, and they find things in, like he takes all of my performance reports and he goes through them, all the decorations, and he goes through them, and he finds nuggets that seem like they tie together into threads, and I have to admit, I did not carefully read those before I sent them to him. I just sent them in and said, "Here you go, sir. You figure it out. You're the expert."
And a number of things that he mentioned were things that I had not thought about in a long time, and it really brings back a lot of memories. I want to thank my mom and dad. I want to thank Vivi and Rosie. You guys, the Colonel said, pretty much summed up a lot of the things that they're interested in, but to come home to all of you every day is the joy of my life. And now you're stuck with me at home, until I go find a job. But I just can't say enough positive things about you and how proud I am of both of my daughters. They're amazing, and they're going to go off and do great things. They're going to get out of my house and go off and do amazing things far too soon. Those of you who have kids, I've heard this happens, and I'm not looking forward to it. The first shot across the bow is the fact that my older daughter can do driver's ed this summer if she wants. So that's a bit of a mind-blowing thing to think about. So you're both incredible people, and I love you so much. And I got a chance to talk about Ozzy a little bit earlier when we were doing the flower presentos, but also someone else without whom any of this would be possible for me. I needed her counterweight. Ozzy is no drama. It is, we're going to get things done. We're going to take it. She's laughing. Oh, no, that's, okay, from my perspective, no drama. Showing up on time to ceremonies notwithstanding. But what ceremony would be a Vieira ceremony if someone wasn't late? So I love you. I'm so happy we finally made it to this point. I wondered myself if I would ever retire, but we're here, so it's really amazing, and we'll see what the next chapter brings, right? And what adventures we can dig up. Something that we did earlier, and you may have wondered why we would do a flag folding ceremony. That flag is why. My grandfather passed away in 1990 when I was 17. I was still in high school. At the time, it was the first person that someone in my family had passed away. I didn't really know how to process it, and it took me a long time to come to grips. I don't think we were there in town when it happened. We lived in Florida. Most of my mom's family lived in the DC area. And so we got a call to come up there. It's not looking good. You got to come now. Drove 24 hours straight through the night with a new driver, this 17-year-old driving the family van. And he passed away while we were there. We went to his interment at Arlington National Cemetery. That flag was on his casket and given to my grandmother when he was laid to rest. So it's been in the family. And because I'm the only person who's done U.S. military service since he served in World War II, all of his information came to me. And so I've sort of gathered what I have, paperwork and medals and things like that, and the flag, of course. And I thought it would be a fitting tribute to him to do a flag folding ceremony with the flag that he was buried with. So I wanted to just also say about the flag, it's an interesting detail about that flag that last summer, it occurred to me that, okay, the end is nigh. This career is going to end, and I wanted to do something special with the flag. A lot of times what people do is they'll have the flag flown over like state capitol, a place that's significant to them. They'll fly it in the flagpole, and you get a certificate back that says this flag was flown on such and such a date over this location that is important to you. And I wanted to do something like that. Before my grandfather's service in the Navy in World War II, he was an architect. And he worked out of a New York office, but they were helping to design a lot of the buildings in the Washington, D.C. area where they were rapidly building monuments and trying to make it a place where Americans could go and feel their history. And he worked on the Jefferson Memorial. The lettering that's in the inside of the Jefferson Memorial was a lot of his work, and also designing the National Archives Annex, which is the room that you would go into if you were to go and visit the archives and you wanted to see, say, what was on display that day, a Constitution or the Declaration or whatever. That room is the annex. So he helped to design these forward-facing things for the American public to be able to celebrate their own heritage. So the idea was I wanted to send it to the National Park Service in DC and say, can you
fly this on the flagpole outside the Jefferson Memorial. And I dug up the information and sent some emails off, and I got a reply back saying, we'd love to do that, but there is no flagpole at the Jefferson Memorial. So we had to, but we can walk the flag around the memorial respectfully, and we can give you a certificate based on that. And I said, done, let's do it. And so 2 days before, I had mailed it out and shipped it out to them, and they said, we got it, we're ready to go. And we wanted to do it on August 9th, which was my grandfather's birthday. And 2 days before, Ozzy said, you know, you've got like this weekend off, you know, even through Monday, so, you know, you could go. And I said, oh my God, that's an amazing idea. So I got a, you know, last second flight, flew out there and spent the entire Saturday with Ranger Ed Fleming from the National Park Service. And we went to 14 sites, I believe, with the flag, and he was like my personal tour guide, told me all about the monuments as we were going through with the flag. And it was an amazing experience. Felt like I really connected with a grandfather that I did not know all that well, except that we had this connection through the military. So it was a very meaningful thing for me. If you go to the displays, stuff, trinkets and mementos and stuff I have back there, on the far right, you'll see the two plaques that the two certificates that they sent that I framed that talk about where the flag was presented. And to me, that's a very important thing. I just wanted to let you know that there's a reason behind that. It's not just to honor the flag, but that flag means something very special to me. So thank you for indulging me here. And I want to thank the Park Service and Ed Fleming for really making that special for me. So that was my grandfather's influence on what brought us here. My grandmother also had an influence in kind of a funny way, because I was in college up the street from where they lived, up the street. They were in just outside DC, and I was going to school in Baltimore. My grandmother was very old school, clipped a newspaper article and sent it to me and wrote on the newspaper clipping, maybe someday for you, Alex. And it was a newspaper clipping of a military band playing for the president in Washington, D.C. Someone took a picture, it made it into the newspaper. She said, someday maybe you'll play for the president. And I said, in a military band, you've got to be kidding. I was going to get that orchestra job, military. And then, but Grandma was right. I've played for 4 presidents and been involved with preparations for others, as you mentioned with George H.W. Bush. So my dad was not in the U.S. military, but he was drafted right when he graduated from college into the Colombian Army at the age of 24, and illegally, I might add. Remember these kinds of things when we talk about this rule stinks. Well, we're following the rules still. In other countries, they just make up the rules. And he was drafted illegally with a bunch of college graduate friends of his into the Colombian Army. He spent about 3 months in the Army, and a lawyer, one of his friends who was drafted was a lawyer who did the homework and figured out that that was illegal. They had a lawsuit, and all of his friends and him were then excused from their military service. So my father developed a mistrust, a serious mistrust of anything military-related that I heard a lot of growing up. And I was with some trepidation that I called him and said, hey, Dad, I'm in Colorado, and I just took an audition for this band that's a military band. And he, as I was saying when my mom was up here, he was supportive. He became an Air Force dad, like that. Everything that I'd heard about the military being such a terrible thing, boom, over, because his son was in the Air Force, and he was so proud of it. Stickers in the car, the whole 9 yards. And that meant a lot to me, to know that this meant something that he was proud enough of what I had accomplished that he was willing to change an opinion that I had heard so many times over the years. And one of the other things that my dad did for me growing up, probably leading to that moment of me picking up the phone and calling and saying, hey, guess what, I got a job, is he instilled in me from a very young age that it's worth the effort to try to be the best at whatever you're doing. You learn later on that you can't really be the best at everything you try to do, but he taught me from a very, very early age, try to get the best grades you can, try to get the, whatever you do, try to put your best effort into it. And I think that really was a very formative thing for me growing up.
as you grow older, you learn that you can't really be the best, and sometimes it's tough to then not be so tough on yourself because you find out that you're not the best. But I did get over that eventually. But I think that those kinds of things were very formative for my dad. As we mentioned earlier, I describe my mom as being the pragmatist or the practical one. She's the one who would say, who was not afraid to tell her children, I'm sorry that this bad thing happened to you, but life isn't fair. And what you got to do next is figure out what the next step is and just do that. Just put one foot in front of the other, do the next thing, and you'll get out of this. This too shall pass. And I say that all the time in my Air Force career. This too shall pass. I know that the times we're living in right now can seem sort of a little fraught with anxiety. People are a little concerned. People are a little bit upset. Just a general anxiety you feel in society. But if we just put one foot in front of the other and do the next right thing together, we can get through this, I'm sure. So, thanks for that. So, besides playing clarinet with my dad, growing up, I was also in the Florida Singing Sons, which was a boys' choir in Florida. That kind of instilled the earliest performing opportunities for me, travel opportunities, and it was a very pivotal point. That 5 years I spent in the boys' choir was something I ended up using, singing, in Academy wins years later, that knowledge, that experience. It was amazing for me to have that knowledge and experience that I was able to lump together with all the other things that I had done as a musician. Other pivotal inflection points in my life would have been meeting Mark Ortwine. Very happenstance. The guy pulls up next to me in a minivan with kids inside and says, "Are you a bassoonist?" I was walking down the street, and I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm late for a lesson with your teacher. He was getting out. He wanted to study with my teacher at that college." And so he followed me, and he had to sit outside my lesson. And when I came out of the lesson, after running through my San Jose list, he said, "You're invited. Put whatever you want on the tape. I don't care. I got to hear you play. You're invited. But would love to come out and play." And he had told me about the heckles. He told me about the opportunities, and I had never considered ever being in the military until I had that conversation walking to my lesson on a random Thursday with Mark Ortwine. And random inflection point made the biggest difference. Not winning, I went to that audition for San Jose, was runner-up, sitting there waiting for the committee to make its decision and wondering, I was playing a school's heckle, and my instrument was a piece of crap, junk, sorry, can I say that here? It was a piece of junk. I could not possibly have played the job on that instrument, but if I'd won, I would have to give the instrument back, and I was kind of sweating like, what do I do? And I'm thinking of the conversation with Mark. There's a job out there that I've been invited to go audition for that has these instruments I want already. So I didn't end up winning the audition. It's a good thing too. And that's another inflection point. And I think an example of if you don't get what you want, try to find that special thing. Try to find, I don't know, I don't want to say something as cliche as silver lining in the cloud, but every time you have a setback, not winning an audition, there's going to be another opportunity. It opens a door somewhere. And I want to encourage you guys to keep that in mind. As Colonel mentioned, my idea in coming here was 4 years, buy a bassoon, win the job, bye-bye. Well, I did get the bassoon finally, as he said. Finally found that, and I'm really happy that this time has been. It took me 28 years to buy the bassoon, but boy, it wasn't really the goal. But it just happened to work out about this time that it happened. Something that happened to me recently was about, 8-10 weeks ago. I woke up on a Friday morning and couldn't feel the side of my face. And I had a case of Bell's palsy. And I was supposed to be playing that weekend. In fact, I was supposed to be playing that night in a rehearsal. And there was a lot of scrambling that went on, and I wasn't sure what was going on. I had to go into the hospital, thought it was a stroke. My father had 2 strokes. Thankfully, not that. But I wanted to just send a general thank you to all the people who reached out and said, "How are you doing? Are you okay? Can we do anything?" Telling me positive and encouraging stories about people they knew who had been through that, because it is a recoverable thing. Almost everyone recovers, but in the meantime, I was, pretty scared about what the short-term, possible long-term ramifications might be. So thank you to all the people who reached out about that. That meant a lot to me in the very recent past. So
I've said thank yous. Thank you to Colonel Herber. Thank you, Captain Holtz. Thanks, Chiefs, for all of your support, all of your encouragement over the years. I guess I owe you an apology, too, for all the times I might have dropped the ball. I'm sure there were some. But those mistakes, those things that I made a mistake here. You saw I with the honor guard, made the mistake that it's a good story now, but boy, that day was terrible in Disneyland. It ruined my day. But I think that those setbacks, those things we go through, whether it's big picture, I think my country's having a setback, or small picture, I'm going through something really tough and I don't know what to do. This too shall pass. Mom's advice. And put one foot in front of the other, do the next right thing, and you'll get there. Particularly if you're together, you'll get there. That's about all I have, folks. Thank you so much. Let's have some cake.
Ladies and gentlemen, our heartiest congratulations to Alex and his family. Please join and stand and sing the Air Force song with Academy Winds. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, zooming to meet our thunder. Adam now, give 'em the gun. Down we dive, spouting our flame from under. Off with one hell of a roar. We live in fame or go down in flame. Hey, nothing will stop the U.S. Air Force. This concludes today's ceremony. Sergeant Vieira invites you to join him and his family for a reception immediately following. Thank you so very much for attending.